Hello, it is Molly Corbett, and I will be talking a little bit about the fraud that occurred at FIFA in 2016. So let's take a deeper look into who FIFA is and what fraud occurred there. So, FIFA is an organization that was founded in 1904 and is a nonprofit whose main responsibility is to organize and promote major international soccer tournaments. As you can see in the illustration to the left, FIFA is kind of organized like a government is organized. They are ran by a president and have an organizational body called the FIFA Congress. In the illustration, you can also see the focus of the U.S. fraud investigation that occurred and what parts of the FIFA organization were under scrutiny. So, the fraud that occurred at FIFA was in 2016, various high level executives were caught engaging in money laundering, racketeering, and wire fraud schemes. This fraud was actually discovered through a whistleblower who was also engaging in these type of schemes and knew all the executives that were also engaging in these bribery type schemes. So these schemes went on for a period of almost 24 years, which is a very long time. So once the whistleblower reported this fraud, the U.S. Department of Justice began an investigation and charged 7 FIFA officials with receiving $150 million in bribes, which is a lot of money. And so the bribes that were occurring is that these companies would bribe officials to give their official support and have their companies sponsored or marketed in their big FIFA tournaments. They also got bribes from all sorts of governments or other people who wanted the FIFA tournaments to take place in their cities to cause attraction and boost their city's economy. So they would bribe these officials, and the officials would therefore give their official support for the tournaments occurring in those locations. So some risks that we see present in this scenario of fraud was a lack of a good control environment. We saw a lot of almost 40 plus officials engaging in these bribery schemes. And so that provides a very bad tone at the top, which therefore trickles down into the rest of the organization, creating a very poor culture at FIFA. Another risk is just the nature of the deals that went on with these sponsorships and with these choosing of a location for these big FIFA tournaments, just since they brought so much attraction and the whole world basically watches them, that just the nature of the deals was very large. So, obviously, some internal control weaknesses that we saw at FIFA were a poor identification of these key risk areas that they didn't even know that these bribes were going on for 24 years. And these proper control activities obviously weren't in place to mitigate these risks going on. And if there were control activities, they obviously weren't being monitored properly because they weren't mitigating any of these risks. As I said before, there's also a poor control environment at FIFA and a lack of good communication throughout the organization to create a better code of conduct and just better communication throughout the organization as a whole. So, some audit procedures that I think would have helped find this fraud faster is a simple observation and inquiry. A lot of times we focus on the financial statements and the credibility of those, which is obviously top priority, but I also think stepping back and just observing these executives and seeing if they're living outside of their means, or asking employees and seeing if they notice anything about the officials, because so many executives were involved in these type of bribery schemes that I think just observing and asking inquiries would have been very beneficial for the auditors to do. So that is my fraud presentation, and I chose an iceberg as a visualization because there was a lot going on underneath the surface with these bribes going on throughout the organization that you didn't see as an outsider or maybe as an auditor as well. Thank you.